Hello, this is a Tiny RPG, 2nd edition. Today I'm just going to read through briefly some of the core rules and aspects of this role-playing game that I wrote. You can find this at the moment on my itch.io page for 50 cents, US 50 cents. This is a rules-light, fast-paced role-playing game where narrative is largely dictated by the player's actions. The game referee, inspired by the player characters and their actions, crafts the structure of the experience. Along with paper, pens or pencils, you will need a set of dice, a D4, D6, D8 or D12 predominantly. Whenever a player wants to do something that seems to be a challenge, get them to roll a D6. If the player can convince the referee, however, that a character trait that their character has can help, you roll a D8. It's a staggered success system. So a 1 is a dismal fail, a 2 or a 3 you fail. However, something else may happen up to the referee, whether it's good or bad. 4 or 5 is a success, so it's up to the referee again whether that although is a hook or like a narrative hook or something detrimental to the player. And a 6+ is a fantastic success. Everything goes brilliantly. Now, a key difference in this in my game is stories, a thing called stories. So players will create stories as they play. When they complete an objective, this is considered a story. Players can write this out as a short sentence on their player sheet. Then they can use their stories to either tell the tale at an inn or a tavern to gain gossip or a lead, or if it's a particularly noble or moral tale, it can be spoken at a shrine to gain a blessing. Then here's a simple default oracle for whenever you need it, whenever it may come up. Just so this game here is designed to be somewhere between a narrative game and a I wouldn't say a crunchy game, but just a more trad game. It's sort of OSR adjacent, I would say, but with a bit more of like a narrative streak. So it's about the characters sort of creating their own stories and then those stories being woven into the overall game mechanics. So it's very open-ended how you want to create your world that you make with your players. So blah blah, there's a bit about local gods and shrines. There's a player turn. So the time structure is each turn represents enough time to explore one room, for example. A combat round, each round should be less than a minute. When I mean round, I might need to clarify this. I mean a round per player. So a round is obviously every person involved in the combat gets to go, and they get like about a minute in game time. So that's enough to attack or move. And I just noticed that I need a full stop. Distances are abstracted into 3 bands. So combat is kind of abstracted obviously, and these distances are just not for combat, but it can be used for anything in the game really. So when you're describing the location of an object, close, near and far. Currency is a bit of a different thing too. Wealth is measured in knots, which is a term used for anything of value. So things can be a fixed price for coin, or they can be bartered. So again, keeping with the flavor and the what's the word, essence, I'll just say the vibe of this game is that things are kind of open-ended and up to you to interpret the way you want. So you can play the. I don't want to tell you how to play your game. I just want to give you a framework and fun stuff. So making a character is designed to be really fast, like with the first edition. You choose a name, age, etc. So you can describe your character. They need a name and an age probably, but you can describe them in as much detail or as less amount of detail as you want, because as the stories develop throughout the game, you kind of build out who your character is, and also this can lead it, depending how you play. I mean, depending how the referee wants to play, it can be a harmless game where you're just going around helping people and there's not much danger, or you can play it like a dungeon crawler, where almost like a funnel, where these characters are getting killed off one by one, and then it takes 5 minutes to roll up a new one. So you roll a 1d8 and 1d6 to get your total heart points, aka hit points. At 0 heart points, the PC is dead, no excuses. Roll up another quick smart. And then depending on how much heart points you get, it determines your core item that your character starts with, which can also be like a narrative prompt to give them an idea. For example, if you roll between 10 and 11 heart points, you're going to get a lockpicking kit, and you could say that your character is either a locksmith or a thief, and that could get you started off. Now, another thing for character building is the 2 positive and 1 negative traits. You roll 2 positives. So these are what tie into your die rolls or dice rolls. For example, whenever a player wants to do something, blah blah blah, 6d6, and then if you say, well, the challenge is you need to get across to that lever and pull that lever before the pit trapdoor opens up and the rest of the party fall into their certain demise. So you have a trait of fast, so you can say, well, I can get across there and pull that lever real fast because my character is fast, and the referee will say, yeah, sure, roll a d8. You might even have advantage or something from an item, so you might get a +1 on that roll as well. Like I said, this game is very flexible in how you want to run it and how the players want to play it. So yeah, that's just a quick introduction to my game. This is a Tiny RPG 2nd edition. You can find it on itch.io at matthew.itch.io for 50 cents US. Thanks. Have a great day, guys. And keep playing cool games.